Alright, so screw it. I'm just gonna go for it. Where I live, it's really dark, so you're not really gonna see me too good in this video, but yeah, I just wanna talk about, as you are someone that you keep going through this life and you keep living, and as you start getting older, you're gonna realize that the things that you once wanted to do and how you wanted to live and the people that you wanted to be around and how you want your life to be, you're going to realize how much things change over the years. You don't see it when you're younger and when you're in that mindset where, you want to go and you want to discover the world and you want to do things and you want to go places and you want to party and you want to have all the sex and all that stuff. And listen, I don't have anything against those things, but I know for me, so much has changed with the way that I want my own lifestyle to be. And the thing that makes it really hard to get to a place and how I want to live my life is because, see, there's a thing with people that is very hard to explain. I love people, but I hate people. I love people, and sometimes I'm like George Carlin. I only love them in short bursts. Like he says, a minute and a half, I got to get the fuck out of there. Because with people, I can't stand the repetition of normality, of the way that conversations go. Everyday conversations, every day. How are you doing? What are you up to? Hi, hello, just all of that normal stuff that most people don't see anything wrong with. They see it like, oh, well, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? There isn't really a big deal. It's just someone like me, I can't put on the mask and the facade anymore for people. Even though I find myself doing it once in a while, because you're almost forced to do it. If you think about it, when you get around crowds of people and stuff, you're almost forced to do it sometimes, because you don't want to be ignorant or you don't want to feel like you're insulting them or offending them. But see, here's the thing that a lot of people just cannot understand about somebody like myself, somebody that is an introvert that likes to do extroverted activities sometimes, but then I want to go back into my solitude. I want to go back into my shelter. I want to go back into my space of being in my energy and basking in what I'm doing and the things I'm thinking about. And if you say something to someone like, look, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone right now. Most people would get offended by that. They would let their feelings get hurt if you said something like that to them. And this is how it is with people that I'm close with. They just can't understand someone like myself. I don't expect them to fully understand because they're not me. But to me, it is like a respect thing. Why can't you just respect my word? Why can't you just listen to what I'm saying? And if I say, look, just leave me alone. I'm not in a mood. I don't feel like talking. You see, this is what this social stuff does. It forces people to talk. It forces people to try to live up to the social standards of what we think we have to be like and how we think we have to talk or what we have to discuss. And to me, it's such bullshit because, like I said, I can't mask anymore. It's called masking, you know? And I'm someone that already has, I believe for myself that I have a form of autism, that I'm on the autistic scale. It doesn't look like it. I don't act like it. But there are things that I am very strange and weird with. I'm weird with sounds and noises and the way that people do what they do, like when they're in the same house as me, and they can become very aggravating. I can become very hateful and like I gotta get the fuck away from these people. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's my family. It doesn't matter if it's women. It doesn't matter if it's whoever it is. It doesn't matter. I just get to a point where I can't tolerate people's stuff. I can't tolerate the things that they do. And I'm like, look, I got to get away. I got to get away from you people. I got to get away from you. I got to be by myself. I got to be alone. I have to just go in my own little space, my own little man cave, my own little room, and I just want to be left alone. And this is something that seems to be so hard for a lot of people to understand. It's like a blockage in their mind that they just can't get. You know, you say, look, I just want to be left alone. I don't feel like talking. I'm not going to force myself to be a part of whatever's going on when I don't want to do whatever is going on. You know, I don't want to force myself to do it, so I'm not going to do it. So just leave me be, you know? Don't keep looking at me and thinking that I'm supposed to do what you're doing or whatever. And this is something that it really infuriates me, when you have to keep saying these things to people over and over and over, like something has changed just because you went to sleep or you went to bed. And they just think that, oh, something changed. He's a new person today. He's changed from the other day. He's going to be in a good mood today. He's going to be happy today. He's going to be talking today. He's going to be, you see, this is what these social norms and social expectations kind of expect you to be. It's like an expectation in people's minds that you have to somehow be a certain way. And it's something to me that the more that I am around it, the more that I want to get away from it, because it drives me nuts. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. And I'm someone that can't act like I'm excited about something if I'm not excited about it. I can't act like I'm enjoying this time and this moment or enjoying whatever is going on when I'm not. And then I always got to make myself, it ain't that I'm forcing myself, and it isn't even that I'm making myself be the oddball or the outcast, but that's just the way I feel. I am literally at odds with damn near everything in this world, and I always will be, I always have been, and I'm going to continue to be, because that's just how I am. I don't try to be like that. I don't really want to be like that, if I'm being honest, but it's just the way that I am. And I'm not going to act like that's not the way that I am when that's the way that I am. And, you know, like tonight, I just gotten one of my moods where I just got tired of hearing the same shit. I got tired of hearing the same kind of talk, the same conversation, the same, you know, just the same, good night, I love you, see you tomorrow. Like, it's like, see, here's the thing that I will say. I actually don't mind living and helping and being around and staying with my grandmother, because she's someone that she doesn't, wake up and say, "Oh, hi, good morning. How are you today?" Like, she isn't so talkable. She isn't like she just leaves me be. She lets me say whatever I got to say when I say something to her, and she don't bug me. She doesn't force conversation on me. She doesn't ask me, "Oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? How are you doing?" "Well, what's wrong? You look like you're. And that's another thing that I can't stand either, is when people always ask you what's wrong with you. See, this is what will transpire. This is what will happen when you are around crowds of socialites that, to me, it's just the situations are so stupid nowadays, because if you're sitting there and you're just being quiet and you have like your head tilted down and you're looking down, right away they'll assume that something's wrong. "What's wrong?" "Whoa, what's wrong with you?" Because you're not speaking, or you're not engaging in conversation, or you're not looking at people. And see, this is why I tend to want to isolate nowadays more than ever, because I am just like kind of over this whole socialism kind of thing. Like, being a socialite, I don't mind doing that once in a while. I don't mind doing it sometimes. I don't mind doing it when it's necessary. Like, even if I had a place, like I was talking about in my other video, even if I would happen to, in the future, end up getting with a woman or having, see, I don't like, see, this is the thing about me. I am so unorthodox in the way that I go about seeing things and doing things, that I can't really say if I get a girlfriend or girlfriends or in a relationship. I don't see it like that. I see it as that person is either going to want to be around you and is going to want to be in your company, and you're going to have some kind of chemistry, or it's not going to be there. It's something that it can't be forced. And like I said in my other video, if I could have a woman, 2 women, 3 women by my side, they would have to understand that sometimes I'm going to say, "Look, just leave me alone right now. Just let me be." But see, what do most people do? They'll get offended, or their feelings will get hurt, or they'll take it the wrong way, because see, they still have this social ego. They still have this kind of stupid thing that they think that you're insulting them, when you really tell them like how you feel, or what you're going through, or what's really going on with you, or if you want to be left alone, or you're like, "Look, I'm just not in the mood," etc., etc. And that's why I'm trying to say there is people like me. It's just, in order to really live the life that I want to live, it's almost like you have to be by yourself. You have to be lonely. You have to get used to being alone. You have to accept the fact that, see, it's hard for me to discuss this. And I don't know why there's all these cars and people out here. It's like 12 o'clock at night and there's people walking around, there's cars. That's why I came out here, because I said, "Oh, well, I'm probably not going to run into anybody this late." Well, unfortunately that wasn't, but whatever. But see, this is just how I am. I'm weird like this, When I want to be left alone, I want to be left alone. When I want to be by myself, I want to be by myself. And it's like other people just can't accept that for some reason. They cannot let you be you, is what I'm basically saying. And it's even people that I'm closest with, it's like you tell them things about yourself and they just don't respect your word. If you say something like, "Look, Don't buy these sugary snacks because my fat ass gotta lose some weight and I can't eat all this sugar because I'm gaining a lot of weight. I don't want it around me because I don't want to eat it. Some people will just deliberately ignore that and they won't care. They just have no regard for some of the things you say for yourself. Because the thing is, more than likely, they don't even respect themselves. They live in a way where they don't even care for their own health or life. So I can't expect them to do what they're not going to do anyway. And it's a shame to say, but I just realize a lot of people do not want to change anything about themselves at all. They don't want to change anything. And this is why I tend to want to be by myself. This is why, and yeah, I'll even be this brutally honest. Yes, I do like control. I like being in control. I like having control because my control is a good control. My control is going to take care of something when it needs to get taken care of. My control is going to clean up after myself. My control is going to be a kind of control where I'm holding the fort down, so to speak. And you see, a lot of people look at control like it's a bad thing, like it's something bad for you or the people that you're around. But I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that for myself. But yeah, it's just, there is these things that I just cannot hack about people. There are things that I love, and then there's things that I just absolutely hate and I get infuriated by. And, the older you get and the more honest you get with yourself, people just won't tell you this. They won't talk about it. They just keep it a secret. But believe me, they have things too that they have in their mind. They just don't speak about it with other people. But I'm telling you, don't ever take privacy for granted. Like, privacy is a very, very important thing in our life. Privacy is a very important thing. Like, if I didn't have privacy, you see, this is why I'm such an introvert. This is why I'm someone that I want to go and create a place for myself somewhere eventually, because I'm someone that I really relish my privacy, and I relish being in my own space and doing what I do. And it's just, I can only tolerate and hack people for so long before I'm like, look, it's nothing against you. It isn't that I want to just deliberately hate you, but I have to get away from you right now. Like, it's not your fault, but you're getting on my nerves. I'm just tired of this monotonous shit. It's like I just break down. I just have like this normality meltdown where I'm like, I did this so many times. I said this so many times before. Like, it's so old. Like, just because I went to sleep and woke up, nothing has changed, All that I did was go to sleep. The sun is spinning around the world. Like, this is how some people think, is just because you go to bed and you wake up like, oh, something's changed. Like, how are you doing today? Like I did like a million things overnight, and it's like, I don't know. It's very hard to explain when you are someone that you're introverted, but you like doing extroverted things sometimes. It's kind of like some people that once in a while they go on these vacations and they're with people partying and having a good time, and they go and do their little thing. They have their fun, and they might do some activities, have some sex, drink some wine or beer or something, and then they say, okay, enough is enough. Now I have to go back to my solitude. I have to go back to my quiet, my silence. I have to go back to my peace of mind. I got to go back to isolating, kind of. I got to go back to being and basking in my own energy. And see, this is the thing where it's very hard for me to cope with shit because the people that I would be around, if they can't get this or understand this, then it's just going to be something that cannot work. Because over time, people should get this. They should understand this. They should have the discernment to know when you don't want to be messed with, or when you're not in a mood, or when you're like, look, just leave me be. Don't keep pushing an issue. Like, you would think that people would get it over time. But see, the thing that's crazy is that some people cannot get it because they're on, like I said, they're on the old floppy disk program. They're on this thing like every day is a different day. It's a new day. And it's not like that. That kind of mindset and philosophy doesn't apply to me. It's like if I decide to do something now, then that's what I decide to do. But nothing has changed. Nothing has, like a plant just didn't grow overnight from the ground and pop 5 feet up in the air. Do you see what I mean? And like when people don't understand that, all that is to me, it's extra baggage. It's extra baggage socialization. It's extra baggage, like forcing expectations onto people. And it's something that over time, you just say, why do we keep doing this? Like, why do we keep thinking that we have to prove something to one another? Why do we keep thinking that you have to somehow talk me into being some kind of better person? Like I'm already the person that I am. Asking me how I'm doing, or like, this is not how real people talk. This is not how real people talk. People that live with one another and have an understanding of one another and get used to one another, you don't even say these kinds of things to yourselves anymore. Like a couple that's been together for 20, 30 years, very rarely do they get up and say, oh, hi, good morning, how are you doing? Like when you go to a place where, quote, strangers are, people that you don't know. You ask them that because you were conditioned to talk like that. You were told in school to talk like that, or by your parents or whoever. But really, that's not how people really talk. They talk like I'm talking. They speak what's really on their mind. They say how they really feel. They say, look, I'm just fucking tired. Can you just leave me alone? Can you just let me be? And if somebody would say that to me, as long as they're not disrespecting me, like coming at me, I don't care if they say something like that. They're not going to offend me. They're not going to hurt my emotions. They're not going to get me anyway. I'm going to be like, all right. And I'm going to leave them be. Like, it's not that hard. And see, these expectations that we have for one another. Do you understand what I mean? These expectations, they're kind of dangerous. They're like the extra baggage that is causing problems. It is seeking this social validation, like you have to look like something in order to say, oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. But then that's not even how they're really feeling. They're just telling you that because they don't really want to tell the truth of how they're really feeling. And then that goes on and on and on. And we continue to do that every day. And I'm just like, look, this isn't even real if you really think about it. It's almost like a program. It's like a robot speaking to you. That's kind of how I see these conversations. Now, if somebody really wants to say that and they really mean it, like, look, how are you doing? I just want to sit with you for a minute and I want to talk with you because I'm just, I just want to sit here with you for a minute because I care, and I just want you to, if you're having something go on, I'm here with you. Like, if it's something that's genuine, the person really means what they're saying because they want to genuinely express that, look, I just wanted to tell you today, I care for you. And if you need something, I'm here. I don't have a problem with that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about these words that we just speak to speak because we think that we have to speak it. We think that we have to say it because we've been saying it our whole lives. And if we don't say those words, if we don't continue to say the things that we've been saying for most of our life, then people are going to go, well, what's wrong with you? Usually you say, how are you doing? Usually you say, good morning. Usually you say this and you say that. And see, people they get so used to you saying those things that they don't even really recognize it like I do. Like, to me, it's so robotic. It's so disingenuine. It's so fake. It's so unauthentic to me. Somebody asks me how I'm doing and I'm not doing good per se, then I'm going to tell them, look, I'm not really doing that great. I'm just feeling this way, or I'm a little miserable right now, or if I'm feeling fine, then I'll say, I'm feeling fine. I'm okay right now. I'm not going to lie to them just to do that thing. And this is something that it's just, you get to this point where you kind of see that, and when I say this, I don't mean this in any kind of way, but it's just true. You start seeing how pointless this kind of rhetoric really is. It isn't that people are pointless, because there are times, even though Charles Bukowski, when he said people are pointless, he meant it in a different kind of way than what I mean when I say people are pointless. Like, there are times where you need to be around people. You need to kind of vent. You need to speak about stuff. You might need to hug someone, or you might need to have that human connection. But then there is a time where it's like, okay, we did that. Now I got to do the opposite thing. See, when you're expecting someone to always be this lovable, caring person that's always like, how are you doing? Oh my goodness, I love you so much. And they're hugging you and they're being sweet to you. Okay, well, what happens when they're not that way? What happens when they just want to be left alone, or they're not in the mood to do that? See, some people, they can't just accept that because they have these expectations that the person should be a certain way, that they always are. And the thing with me is, I'm never going to just be one way. There is going to be days where I'm in the mood for things, and I'm in the mood to maybe talk a little, and I'm in the mood to do something extroverted, or I'm in the mood to be around people a little bit. And then there's going to be a day where I absolutely just want to be left to hell alone, and I don't want to talk with anybody, and I don't want to discuss anything because I don't feel like I have to. And this is where there's some kind of strange vibe in the world that it doesn't seem like a lot of people can understand this, because when they go to sleep and they wake up, their programming tells them, oh, when I see this person, they don't even know they're doing it. They're just going to say, oh, hi, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm good. And it's the same thing all the time. And it just becomes so robotic to me. It becomes so repetitious and boring. I'm sorry, but that's just how I really feel about it. And why did I even do this video in the first place? Well, see, like I said, there's only so much that I can tolerate before I just literally shut down. I literally have to shut people off and shut down. I have to say, look, just act like I'm not even here. Just think of it like I'm not even around right now. Just look at like I'm a ghost, and I'm not even here. That's how I really get, and that's how I feel, and that's how I am. But then there's a time where I do want to, like with women, There's time where I want a woman to lay with me, and I want a woman to sit next to me, and I want a woman to pay me attention while I'm talking, and if she needs that in return, do that in return. There's times where I need my sex because I love sex. I'm not going to act like I don't. I'm a freak too, but there's times where I need those things, but then there is the opposite time. And this is what makes it so hard to be understood by the world, because you're never going to be understood by people. It's impossible to be understood. You have to just be honest with yourself. And if people can't respect that, then you know that their understanding, their lack of understanding, their lack of interpretation, their lack of knowledge, their lack of getting the situation, they either don't want to get it, or they're not going to get it, or it's just going to keep going over their head because they've been living that way for so many years that they have to be that way, because it's the social conditioning. It's the way that they've been talking to certain people for so long. That's why nothing's really ever new. It's just the same boring, monotonous talk over and over again. And I just get tired of it. I get tired of it. I don't know how else to explain it. But then it'll come back around where I'll kind of be in my jolly, holly mood. Like, if Christmas comes around and I see Home Alone on TV and they're showing the tree under the building, the tall building, I'm like, oh, well, man, that's pretty cool. I'd like to go there and be around some people and just, soak in the environment and stuff. But then there's days where I'm like, I don't want to be nowhere near or around it. So, what does that make me? Does that make me all these things that people will call you, like multiple personality or all this? Maybe I do. Maybe I do have a lot of personalities. But I know when I'm tired of one, I'm not going to keep forcing myself to be the one that I'm not. And this is why people that are similar, I think that people like myself should start really planning on, or should really start planting a seed in your life to find others that are similar, and go somewhere where you know that you're not going to have to deal with this as much. Because it's just something, as time goes on, I'm just tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of being around it. I'll even say I'm kind of agoraphobic. I don't even like going out because I already kind of know what people are going to say to me. I already know how they're going to react. I already know the things they're going to say. And it's just boring to me. And hey, like George Carlin said, he said, people are fucking boring. And we just are. We're boring. We're boring people. But in that, there are times, yet again, where you crave, or you yearn for that human connection. And when I say yearning for human connection, I mean more with women on my part. Yes, I would like to know certain men that are very knowledgeable, that are very discerning, that are mindful hedonists, that are disciplined, that take responsibility, that take accountability for their own lives. But it's even hard to find men like that today, because we're such in a judgmental world. And this isn't me being judgmental. This is just me really saying how I really feel about these things. It has nothing to do with being judgmental. It's just how I feel is how I feel. And how I see things is how I see things. And this is where, when we always have this expectation of other people to be a certain way, all that's doing is causing more problems. You're always expecting them to be a certain way. You're always expecting them to say the right words back to you. You're always expecting them that when you do something, that they're supposed to do something a certain way too. And it does not work like that. And this is why I think you have to. I had to be alone for a very long time. I had to be by myself for many years in order to understand myself, in order to be honest with myself, in order to stop going by this programming shit, going by this conditioning, going by this way that I thought I had to be for other people. And I'm sorry to say, but a lot of people that are extroverts, they don't really even know what that is because they were not alone long enough. They were not by themselves enough. So it's kind of hard for them to understand this side of the planet, but I understand both sides because I was all these things. I used to be the class clown. I used to be the life of the party. I used to go to everybody's house. I used to be the biggest social extrovert that there was. But at the same time, I liked my privacy and I liked when I was by myself sometimes. But now I'm more towards the introverted side. I'm more towards the solitude, isolation, basking in my own energy. So I understand both realms. And that's why I always say I am the king of contradiction. I am the king of the yin, of understanding the yin yang, of understanding oppositions and stuff. And if there would be more people like that, we would have a better discerning, we would be able to discern each other better. There wouldn't be so much forcing. There wouldn't be so much trying to prove. There wouldn't be so much being something that you're not, wasting energy on things that don't need to be wasted on, if that's making sense. Because there's, like I said, there's just times where I just completely, and I don't really want to say it like this, but I just shut down. I just give up. I'm like, enough is enough of this. Like, I heard this a million times. I seen this a million times. You know, it's life takes on a repeat kind of, and you're just like, whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? And some people, it's crazy. They'll get insulted by that. They'll take that personally. They will literally get offended when you're someone that just goes, all right, yeah, whatever. But basically what you're saying is, look, do what the hell you do. Do what you do. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Do what you do. You know, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But don't expect me to do it with you. Don't expect me to like what you like. Don't expect me to get involved with whatever's going on when I don't want to get involved with it, because I'm not going to force myself to do it. So I don't know. That's just how I am, and I can only tolerate so much. And it's really funny when George Carlin says about, I like people. I do. I like people. Once I'm about to a minute and a half, I got to get the fuck out of there. Like, that's kind of how I am when I sense that there's really nothing productive happening, or there's like I'm not comfortable, or there's really no point. I just want to say, okay, look, we know that this is awkward. We know that this is not going to work. Like, we know that this is strange. But how can you say that to people? You know what I mean? Then you make yourself look weird, you make yourself look strange, and then you're uncomfortable and it's awkward. And I really haven't found of a way to really deal with it when I feel that way. That's why I tend to just stay away from it, because I'm just going to be the oddball. I'm just going to be the awkward guy. I'm just going to be the dude that's going to say something that's going to seem so unorthodox and so strange and so weird. And I don't know why that should bother me at all. But for some reason, it tends to pull on my mood strings for some reason. Like, I just do not like being in situations where I have to force myself to do anything. I don't like being in situations where I have to try to prove something to someone or prove something to a woman that I'm an alpha male or look at me, I'm a tough guy or like it's just no, 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 and no. And basically, it's just really being authentic with yourself when you really break it down. It's just me being authentic with myself. And unfortunately, we're in a world where authenticity is almost shunned. It's almost looked down upon. It's almost looked at like you're being the one that's causing the problems. That you're being the one that is, oh, you're just being that way because you don't want to this and that. And it's like, no, that's not the reason. That's not the reason. I'm just being honest with myself. And it's really weird and crazy how honesty in this reality and in this realm is almost looked at like it's a bad thing. Like it's a thing that people run away from. And that doesn't make any sense to me at all. It makes zero sense to me. So, am I a moody son of a bitch sometimes? Yes, I am. Do I want to just be left alone sometimes and say, look, just leave me alone? I don't want to talk about nothing? Yes. Are there times where I'm the opposite of that? Like I want to have a conversation? Yes. Is there times where I want to like to have something to share with other people? Yes. But the thing is, if we don't have an understanding of this, then there is going to be no connecting or there is going to be no way of living. There is going to be no lifestyle to live because if there's a lack of discernment there, then there's always going to be this trying to prove, trying to force, acting like something you're not, saying things you don't really want to say. You see, and I'm just to the point where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. And when you say something like, I just give up, I'm not talking about completely giving up on life. I'm not talking